Assalamu alaikum everyone. क्या हाल है आप लोगों के? Ad maths inshallah starting from this weekend. मुझे तो आज ही से start करना था ad maths, but yesterday I was supposed to do S1 which I couldn't. So and today I was supposed to do ad maths, but ad maths inshallah from this weekend. We're starting with live mocks, ठीक है, and then we'll do past papers as well. Inshallah. Sir, why didn't you do S2? Because I don't teach S2. I don't teach S2. Sir, P1 में full आएगा मेरा. Okay. Let's just hope कि P1 के marks actual में count हो. सर आपने S2 वालों को इग्नोर मार दिया. बेटा मैं S2 पढ़ाता ही नहीं हूँ, मुझे S2 आता ही नहीं है, तो इसलिए. Will you ever teach further maths? Nope. Not. I don't have any plans to. Let's see. Again, same problem. I'm not. There is no point in teaching further math or S2 because I'm not familiar with the syllabus content. I'm not familiar with the paper pattern. So if I do it, I'll probably not do a good job. So it's best that you. The S2 की playlist है वैसे, सर अहमद साहब की playlist है, आप लोग वहाँ से पढ़ सकते हैं. Further math का मुझे नहीं पता, but S2 I think, yeah, in fact I know that he has completed the entire syllabus. There's a playlist. You can learn it from there. बाकी past papers खुद attempt कर लो. या उसमें भी शायद होंगे past papers. I don't know. So I was actually waiting for you to stream S2 and I saw. Chale, I'm sorry about that, but I don't know S2. That's why I don't teach it. So O level P2 was easy. Yeah, I think it was. It was easy. Concept की already videos हैं. Okay, I already have videos of normal distribution concept. That's why I'm not going to be doing conceptual videos. Sir, आपने ad maths में life saving marathons बनाई थी. चलो, I appreciate that. Yes, permutation combination. Don't worry, there's going to be a very extensive permutation combination stream very soon on my channel. Perhaps the longest stream that I will be of permutation combination of S1, because I understand this is a pain point. I do understand that. So how to solve really hard probability questions? Make a rough sketch, see all the possibilities, do sample spacing. So if there's a really difficult probability question, it's probably difficult because there are a lot of possibilities to consider. And the best way to do that, the best way to consider all the possibilities is by making a rough sketch. Sir, do you have these for all sections of A-level maths? What do you mean? I do have a conceptual playlist on permutation combination if you guys want to go over it. Okay, it's complete. Sir, ये normal geometric and binomial distribution बहुत मुश्किल है. It's not, honestly. I mean, normal distribution, I don't know why people make a big deal out of it. It's very standard. It's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again. Yeah, I'll do questions on continuity correction. Don't worry. I'll do questions on continuity correction. edX cell पर shift कर जाएं. That's actually not a bad thing to consider. Let's see. Let's see what they do about it. If Cambridge decides not to do anything about it, then obviously we have to look at some other options, because we're just wasting money if we just keep on doing the same thing over and over. Or if they just keep on doing the same thing over and over again, then they're just wasting money. So let's see. Sir, the simple probability question are easy, but the one merged with these two. Okay, we'll do that, inshallah. We'll do that. Sir, made distributions a game for me, and I'm happy. So yeah, the dispute between countries are short. I hope you all. Yeah, sir, हमारे साथ ज़्यादती हुई है. So where are your notes of PNC? You can download all my notes from my website, mathletebysart.com. Sir, tomorrow exam is postponed. No, but I'm no one to confirm this. All you get. The one good thing about British Council Pakistan is that at least they are timely updating about this. Leaks वाली बात को तो इन्होंने बिल्कुल ignore किया हुआ है. But at least about the law and order situation, about exams being conducted or cancelled, they are giving timely updates about that. So follow them on Instagram or Facebook. ठीक है, you will get your update from there. Alright, so please don't ask me, don't ask a teacher. We don't decide whether the exams will be held or not. British Council decides that. So follow their official pages and you'll receive updates from there. Sir, is your story real with the talk with... Yeah, so I was trying to get in touch with British Council Pakistan. They've completely ignored. So I reached out to British Council International. They did get back. Although it's a pretty standard reply that they're giving everyone. That's the reply that they're giving everyone on email, on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. But at least the message is getting out there. PNC inshallah in the coming days. In the coming days, we'll do PNC inshallah as well. So let's start. Bismillah karte hain. I would appreciate if you guys like the stream if you haven't done that yet. Also, if you guys subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet, I would appreciate that. ठीक है, मुझे बस 1 मिनट दें, हम स्टार्ट करना है. No. Thank you. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, today we'll just do normal distribution. So let's start with some easy questions. Okay. दिल में बेचैनी सी हो रही है. सर पीछे बर्तनों की आवाज़ तो नहीं आनी चाहिए. हाँ, आवाज़ें आ रही होंगी बट बर्तनों की तो नहीं आ रही होंगी. So let's start with some simple questions. Okay, so here we have a question. You can download this PDF. There's a link in description. In a certain town, the time X hours for which people watch television in a week has a normal distribution with mean 15.8 and standard deviation 4.2 hours. Okay, so remember that whenever we write normal distribution, there are two parameters that we need. One is the mean and the other is the variance. Okay, so X is normally distributed. What's the mean? The mean is 15.8. Okay, and we write the variance, which is 4.2 squared. Use some standard deviation karte hain, but the parameter that we need is variance. Okay. All right. Now, the question says, find the probability that a randomly chosen person from this town watches television for less than 21 hours a week. So that means we need to find out the probability of X to be less than 21. अब सबसे पहले हमें क्या करना है, हमने ढूंढना है z score. Now what's the formula for that? Z is equals to x minus mu upon sigma, upon standard deviation. Okay. Now, so z is equals to x, which is 21, minus mu, that's 15.8. ठीक है, divided by standard deviation, which is 4.2. Now let's work this out. Let's see what do we get. So we get 21 minus 15.8 upon 4.2. Make sure in the denominator, you take standard deviation. So we get z to be equal to 1.2380. So because it's less than, that means the probability of x is less than 21 will basically be equal to the z, to be equal to the phi of 1.2380. Okay, so this is what it will be equal to. No, but no update. If there is an update, it will make its way to you. Okay, nobody is just gonna keep that update to themselves. They will share it. I will share it on my channel. Make sure that you're following all the official channels on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever social media platform that you use. Okay, let's do this. Let's work this out. We need to find out phi of 1.2380. Okay, so for this, what do we need? We need the z table. Okay, so where's the z table? Here it is. 1.2380. Now, there is a way to do this in your calculator also. Sir, aap Sir Shahab Yaqub ko jante hain? Yeah, I've heard of his name. Okay, I know who he is. But then, that's about it. Okay. I just ignored it again. What did I ignore? एक तो आप लोग बात पे दुखी हो जाते हैं, भाई कहीं ऊपर रह गया होगा मैसेज, मेरी कोई आपसे कोई ज़ाती दुश्मनी थोड़ी है, दोबारा भेज दें, इसमें क्या रोने की बात है. Just whatever message you had, just send it again. No need to cry about it. So 1.2380. Let's find out the phi value of 1.2380. So 1.2, that's right here. This is 1.20, 1.21, 1.22, 1.23. Okay, so 1.23 That's right here. And yeah, वापस आ गया. Let's delete this. Yeah, so 1.23. So 0.8907. And then in the third decimal was what? The third decimal was 8. So in the same line, let's see what's the corresponding value of 8. The corresponding value of 8 is 15. So that means in the last two decimal places, we will add 15. Okay, sir, एक और साल गैप ईयर का हो गया तो मेरा बैचलर्स इंशाल्लाह ऐसा नहीं होगा. Sir, should we do topicals still or yearly? You should be doing yearly, beta. You should be doing yearly at this point. Topical only of papers that you, or only of topics that you are struggling with. Anyway, so 0.8907, and in that, in the last two places, we will add 15. 0.8907, and in the last two decimal places, we will add 15. So let's see what's that. 7 plus 5 is 12. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. And 9, 8. So that means the answer is 0.8922. Okay, so 0.8922. There you go. And you can download this PDF. There is a link in description. Okay, now. Easy question. Okay. How many marks? 2 marks. 2 easy marks. Achha, by the way, you guys can do this in your calculator also. मैंने बताया हुआ भी है calculator में. आप directly भी कर सकते हैं calculator में. Or if you want to just see the corresponding phi value, you can do that also. Okay, I'm not going to go over this right now. Maybe when we're discussing a yearly paper or something, I'll go over it. But I've made a dedicated video on it. I would encourage you guys to check it out. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा. Now let's move on. Let's do the next part. Part B says, find the value of k such that probability of x is less than k is equals to 0.75. Okay, 0.75. We're given the probability and we're supposed to find out the probability of, or we're supposed to find out the value of k. Okay, so discrete random variable, I've already done it. Okay, discrete random variable, I have already done it. अच्छा, कल CS का पेपर है बेटा. आप सही कह रही हैं, कल CS का पेपर है, बट ये स्ट्रीम सेव होगी, ठीक है, एंड you can watch it later. Okay, you're right. I just didn't, because I was supposed to do it yesterday. I did not want to waste another day, but ये stream save होगी, you can watch it later. Okay, all right. Now, अच्छा, the rules and everything, you guys can download my notes, and I've already made a detailed video on explaining normal distribution. You can check it out from there. Find the value of k such that the probability of x is less than k is equals to 0.75. So that means we are given the probability of x being less than k to be equal to 0.75. Now, if you had to find out the probability of x being less than k, here's what you would do. You would do phi of k minus the mean. What's the mean? Okay. The mean is 15.8 divided by the standard deviation, which is 4.2. And that's equal to what? That's equal to 0.75. Now, when you take phi across the equals to sign, okay, so what do you have? You have k minus 15.8 divided by, title of the video, just write normal distribution, Mathlete. So normal distributions related जो भी video होगी वो आ जाएगी. K minus 15.8 over 4.2 is equals to phi inverse of 0.75. Now, why are we taking the phi value as is, not subtracting from 1? Because it's less than. Okay, when it's less than, we take it as it is. Okay, now what's phi inverse of 0.75? First, let's do it without, first let's do it using the table, and then I'll show you how this can be done with a calculator as well. Blackout expected in Karachi. Yes, I heard about that. ठीक है, let's 10 o'clock से पहले तो वैसे ही end हो ही जानी है. Anyway, so we need to find out the corresponding value of 0.75. So the good thing is that we are given the corresponding value of 0.75. Okay, and that's equal to 0.674. So that means the phi inverse of 0.75 is equals to 0.674. So k minus 15.8 over 4.2 is equals to 0.674. Now let's cross multiply and work it out. You'll get the answer. So 4.2 into 0.674 plus 15.8, what's that equal to? That's equal to 18.6308. Correct to 3 significant figures, it would be 18.6. Achha, yeah, because I'm not sure if I've made a video on this, so I'll just explain it to you guys right now, how you can do this using a calculator. Achha, I will, a bit of a disclaimer, I'm a bit rusty on it. I haven't I recently discovered this feature, so I haven't used it to its full potential. So I'm a bit rusty. So just bear with me, okay, if I don't get it right in the first attempt. That's probably why I haven't made a video on it yet. Okay, so we want inverse normal. क्या चाहिए हमें? हमें चाहिए inverse normal. So that's at number 3. Okay, so 0.75 is the probability, because the probability is equals to area. So 0.75, and you let standard deviation be as it is, and you let mean be as it is. Let's see what do we get. Okay, yeah, brilliant. So since we want to find out phi inverse of 0.75, so in your calculator, this is basically the area. Now I'll go over it one more time. This was easier than I thought, surprisingly. So basically inverse normal. Okay, now this table that you have, remember this table is such that the mean of this table is equal to 0. Okay, and the standard deviation is equal to 1. Okay, so you don't need to change any of that. If you want to find out phi inverse of 0.75, just write the value you want to find inverse of here in place of area, let everything else be as it is, and you'll get the answer. Simple as that. In the end, you're supposed to give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, in the end, you're supposed to give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Okay, now let's do another question. The lengths of female snakes of a particular species are normally distributed with mean 54 and standard deviation 6.1. Acha, if you don't have this feature in your calculator, then there's nothing I can do about it. I can't like virtually update your calculator and bring that feature in. Then all I can say is just upgrade your calculator. Okay, so no point in complaining to me or crying about it. Just update your calculator. That's it. Okay, now we're given the mean and standard deviation. Okay. Find the probability that a randomly chosen female snake of this species has length between 50 and 60 centimeter. So that means x is greater than 50 and less than 60. This is what we're supposed to find out. Okay, so that means we'll have to find, first we'll have to convert this into z values. We'll have to convert x values into z values. So let's find out the z scores. So let's start with z1. So z1 is equal to 50 minus 54 divided by the standard deviation, which is 6.1. Let's see what do we get. So 50 minus 54 divided by 6.1. So we're looking at z1 to be equal to minus 0.6557. Now let's find out z2. So z2 will be equal to 60 minus 54 divided by 6.1. So that's equal to 0. So let's do the working for it also. 60 minus 54 divided by बेटा I think सर जैन की स्ट्रीम शायद इसलिए नहीं हुई. Maybe शायद वहाँ पे कुछ इंटरनेट इश्यूज हैं. Because of the attack. I mean, he's safe and sound. I've spoken to him. He's alhamdulillah safe and sound. Okay, but probably there are some internet issues or maybe even electricity issues. So, could be because of that. ठीक है? Check करें. I'm sure उन्होंने अपने Insta पे update किया होगा. Okay, so what are the z values? Let's write down the z values. The z values are greater than minus 0.6557, minus 0.6557, and less than 0.9836. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now. So that means we have to do phi of 0.9836. And from that, we have to subtract phi of minus 0.6557. Okay. Now, as far as phi of 0.9836 is concerned, we can work that out, no problem. 0.9836. 0.9836. Acha, we can't work out a phi value of something that has more than 3 decimal places. Okay, max what we can do is we can find out phi value of 3 decimal places. So that means we will have to bring this down correct to 3 decimals. So it's going to be 0.5 of phi of 0.984 minus phi of minus 0.656. Okay. Why are you taking the square of 6.1? See, how do you write normal distribution? The way that you write normal distribution is mean and variance. Okay, so you always write the variance, but in the formula, you use the standard deviation. I'm not taking the square of 6.1, but the parameters of normal distribution are mean and variance. So a lot of people write it as standard deviation only, but that's okay. No problem. Anyway, so 0.984. 0.984. So here's 0.9, here's 0.98. So इसको हम कह लेते हैं 0.8365. ठीक है, इसको मैं अपने कैलकुलेटर में लिख रहा हूँ 0.8365. Okay, this is 0.98, and then in the end, let's see, we have 4. So the last two decimal places are 0. But I've already answered that question. I would appreciate if you stop spamming now and listen instead. So we have 0.8369. 0.8369. Now we can't take phi of a negative value. Okay. So reason why you can't take a phi of negative value is because the table starts from positive. So what do we do in that case? We do 1 minus phi of the positive value instead. मैं ये calculator पे भी करके आप लोगों को दिखाता हूँ. ठीक है, calculator में ये literally आधे मिनट में solve हो जाएगा. Okay, I'll show you guys how you can do this using your calculator, and you'd be surprised as to how easily you can solve. And remember, when I say solve, I mean check. Okay, the idea is to check your answer. So plus 0.656. 0.656, so 0.65, that's 0.7422, 0.7422. Okay, 7422. And in the end, we're supposed to add the corresponding value of 6, so that means 0.0019. So that's equal to 0.7441. So plus 0.7441. Now let's put this all together. 0.8369 minus 1 plus 0.7441. So that's equal to 0.581. 0.581. Let's see if that's the answer, and I'll show you guys how you can use your calculator here also. So 0.582 actually. The correct answer is 0.582. Yeah. Okay, so here's how you use your calculator. अच्छा, एक वैल्यू मुझे लग रहा है मैंने गलत ली है. It's supposed to be 0.9836. 0.8375. Just a minute. One value, I think 0.9836, 0.984. So 0.9. Here's 0.98, 8365. Oh, 0.8375 आनी थी. Was supposed to be 0.8375. Which is why we're getting a slightly off value. But anyway, here's how you do it using your calculator. And make sure that your answer is, it has to be exactly correct. Otherwise, you'll lose 1 mark. Now, here's how you can check using your calculator. Okay, now if you don't have this feature, well, there's nothing I can do about it. All I can say is change your calculator. So here's how this works. First, let's clear everything. Let's start fresh. Now you can solve this question in your calculator, and remember the purpose is to check your answer. So go on to distribution, go on to normal cumulative distribution. Okay. Now there are 2 ways that you can use your calculator. One is that you can use it to solve the entire question, okay, using the mean and the standard deviation of the question. Okay. The other is that you can use it just to find out the probability. Okay, you can use the z-score, and you can use the z-score to find out the phi value. Okay, so here what we're going to do is we're going to use your calculator to solve this question as it is. To solve this entire question, well, I will use the mean of the question, I will use the standard deviation given in the question, and I will use the x values given in the question as well. Okay, so what's the lower value? The lower value that you can see is 50. Okay, so there you go, that's 50. What's the upper value? The upper value you can see is 60. Now this sigma is basically for standard deviation, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 6.1. Okay, and mu is mean, which is equal to 54. And that's it. Press the equals to sign. Boom. Answer aa gaya in just a few seconds. 0.5813. which is अच्छा थोड़ा सा ऑफ आया हमारा आंसर. I wonder why. 50, 60, 6.1. मीन भी हमने सही लिया. 6.1. मीन भी हमने सही लिया. 0.5813. चलें, एटलीस्ट करीब करीब तो आया. 0.001 का डिफरेंस है. आना नहीं चाहिए था. आना तो एग्जैक्टली यही चाहिए था. No, it's not 0.581, it's 0.582. As per the marking scheme, it's 0.582. ऐसा होता नहीं है वैसे, हमेशा एग्जैक्ट ही आता है. But yeah, I mean, once again, the purpose of the calculator is not so that you can entirely rely on it. The purpose is that you can check and see whether you've done it correctly or not. Simple as that. Okay. All right. Now, question number. अच्छा, इसी का एक और question है. इसका part B करते हैं. Okay, in part B, once again, you have inverse normal distribution. So could you also show the area using the bell curve? Yeah, sure, I can. So basically, here is what we're doing. This is the bell curve. ठीक हो गया? अच्छा. Now, so remember the value at the center is basically mean, which is equal to 0. That's right here. Okay. And the z values are 0.656, okay, and 0.984. So 0.984 will probably be somewhere over here. This is 0.984, okay, and minus 0.656, that's probably somewhere over here. So minus 0.656. Okay, so this is the area that you want. All right, and remember the total area is equal to 1. So since we can't find out phi of a negative value, we do 1 minus phi of the positive value, and this is what we get. Okay? So yeah, even if there's a 0.001 difference, marks will be deducted. So use your देखो ऐसा बहुत कम होता है कि आपके calculator में and the actual answer is different. This is probably the first time I've noticed this, but you're not relying on your calculator anyway. You're not relying on your calculator 100%. You're basically using your calculator to check your answer. All right. The lengths of male snakes of this species also have a normal distribution. A scientist measures the length of random sample of 200 male snakes of this species. He finds out that 32 have lengths less than 45 and 17 have lengths more than 56. Find estimates for the mean and the standard deviation of the lengths of male snakes of this species. Okay, so that means what we're doing now is we're now doing inverse normal distribution. Okay, we're doing reverse normal distribution basically. So we're talking about 200 snakes, so that means normal distribution makes sense. He finds that 32 have lengths less than 45 centimeters. So that means probability of x being less than 45 is equal to 32 out of what? 32 out of 200. Okay. Now, if let's say, then the question says that 17 have lengths more than 56 centimeters. So probability of x being greater than 56 is equal to 17 upon 200. So my teacher told us that in some cases the calculator answers will not match as it takes. Yeah, so that is probably the reason we are limited, but the calculator obviously is not. So yeah, you're right. However, there is a way out. ठीक है, मैं भी आपको इसका way out बताता हूँ. Let me get through this question, then I'll tell you a way out. And that way I think we can get the exact answer. Okay, it just occurred to me. Anyway, so probability of x being less than 45 would be the same as phi of 45 minus mu upon sigma, which is the standard deviation, is equals to 32 upon 200. So might as well simplify that. 32 upon 200 is equals to 0.16. So that means 45 minus mu upon sigma. Achha, always be aware of the amount of space that you have. So we have plenty of space, so nothing to worry about. Is equal to phi inverse of 0.16. Now what's phi inverse of 0.16? Fine sir. Okay, फिर कोई नाराज़ हो गया. एक तो लगता है आप लोग नाराज़ होने के लिए तुले हुए होते हैं. What's your question? Your question is probably lost in the chat somewhere. So if you can, instead of complaining, just resend your question, that would be great. We can use that fix feature. No, that's not that's not the idea I had. I'll talk about it in a minute. So first let's find out phi inverse of 0.16. Now we can't find out phi inverse of 0.16 because the least value that we have in the table is 0.5. So how do we fix that? What if you're supposed to find out phi inverse of a value which is less than 0.5? Well, no problem. You instead find phi inverse of 1 minus 0.16, okay? But then you take the negative value. So that means you find phi inverse of 1 minus 0.16. Okay, and then instead of taking the positive value, you take a negative value. Okay, and everything else on the left-hand side remains as it is. अच्छा, कुछ लोग left-hand side का sign change करते हैं, कुछ लोग right-hand side का sign change करते हैं. It makes no difference. ठीक है, अब learn ना बैठ जाइएगा. So that means minus of phi inverse of 0.84. Okay. Now, what's phi inverse of 0.84? First, let's see if we are given phi inverse of 0.84. No, sadly, we're not. Okay, so no problem. Let's find out phi inverse of 0.84 ourselves. Let's see what's the closest we can get to 0.84. So here we are. 0.8413, this is 0.8389. And now in 0.8389, we must add 11 to get 0.84. But that's not possible. We don't have 11. However, we do have 10. So if I add 10, it's going to be 0.8399. Now, what's this equal to? This is equal to 0.994. Yeah, 0.994. So that means 45 minus mu upon sigma is equal to phi inverse of 0 minus times phi inverse of 0.84. So that's minus 0.994. 994. Acha, what's that? A question that I should answer before you guys start complaining again. Sir, अगर multiple steps same lines में करते हैं but organize way में lack of space की वजह से तो answer. बेटा देखो, just make it easy for the examiner to check. Okay, think of it this way. Think of it this way, that you're the person who's checking. How would you like the paper to be presented to you? Okay, so just ask yourself that question, and then whatever answer you come up with, just follow that. वालेकुम सलाम, ओ लेवल स्टूडेंट्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग? मिस तो नहीं कर रहे आप लोग मैथ की स्ट्रीम्स एंड मॉक्स? So 45 minus mu is equals to minus times of 0.994 sigma. Let's write this nicely. So sigma को right hand side पे ले आते हैं. So that's going to be mu minus 0.994 sigma is equals to 45. Okay, so I've done a bit of shuffling, moved this to the right, and I've rewritten it 45. I've written it in a way that I've written 45 after the equals to sign instead. अच्छा, फिर कौन नाराज़ हो गया? अरे सर नाराज़ नहीं, but he is asking stupid questions. Okay. Anyway, so I don't teach S2. All right, now let's work this out. So for this, because it's greater than, we'll do 1 minus phi of 56 minus mu upon sigma, which is equal to 17 upon 200. Now let's do 1 minus 17 upon 200. Let's see what we have. 1 minus 17 upon 200, that's equal to 0.915. So phi of 56 minus mu upon sigma is equal to 0.915. Okay. Now, when you take phi across, it will become phi inverse. Acha, now no need to do a lot of, because we're about to, we do have enough space, but no need to waste time, write phi inverse and everything. Just write phi inverse in the next step. So 56 minus mu upon sigma is equal to phi inverse of 0.915. Let's see what that is equal to. So 0.915, let's see where that is. 0.915. So we have 9099, 9115, 9147. So if in 9147 I add 3 in the end, that should do the job. Do we have a 3? Yes, we do. Okay, so what's this equal to? This is equal to 1.372. Okay, it's equal to 1.372. So that means 1.372. All right, so it's all downhill from here. 56 minus mu is equals to 1.372 sigma. Let's write this nicely. So it's going to be sigma sorry, it's going to be mu plus 1.372 sigma is equals to 56. So now we're going to solve them simultaneously. Now please make sure that you show your working when solving them simultaneously. So these questions are going to be arranged in a way that you will be very easily able to use elimination. Okay, and that's exactly what I intend to do. So let's rewrite this equation, and from this equation let's subtract this equation. Okay, once again, be aware of the amount of space that you have. So upon subtracting the two equations, let's see what happens. So mu gets eliminated. 1.372 minus 0.994. That's equal to 2.366. So 2.366 sigma is equals to 56 minus 45. Let me solve this question, then I'll take your questions. Equals to 11. So 11 divided by 2.366, that's equal to 4.64. Okay, so we have 4.649, so we'll round it off correct to three significant figures. So that means sigma is equals to 4.6491. We'll round it off in a minute. Let's first find out the value of mu. So mu is equals to 56 minus 1.372 times the answer. So we get 49.62. 49.621. So mu is equals to 49.6 and sigma is equal to 4.65, correct to three significant figures. ठीक हो गया? Okay, now I'll take your questions. So I'm spamming in the comments, but I know what's wrong with the comment section. The comment that post not visible in the chat like others, but the others like this in the chat I have checked. Okay, maybe you're trying to say something which is automatically getting deleted. So if third decimal lies immediately between two values, which to take? So you always take the one which is the closest and less than. Okay, closest and less than. That's the rule. So will we lose marks if we write down the rounded answer directly? No, you won't. No, you won't. But just make sure that if your work, if you round off towards the end. Okay, you don't do premature approximation. So how do we practice S1? Like in P1, we see working through MS and we get it rough, but in S1, we don't get it up. Kya kare? So beta, you should not be looking at the marking scheme anywhere. Okay, you should not be looking at the marking scheme anywhere. Instead, what you should be doing, you should be solving a paper, and then in the end, you should look at the marking scheme. This year's May-June session must be no doubt, yeah. So I think this is even worse than COVID, because COVID was a global issue, so the world was in it together. But this is just one of its own. It's one of a kind. So please inverse thing again. Okay, I'll solve another question where there will be a question related to inverse, so you can check it out then. Or you can just rewind the stream, watch that part again. Honestly, it's that simple. Sir, please solve calculator problem. What do you mean calculator problem? Okay. One thing that I would like to explain here is that you can do this using your calculator also. Not the entire question, but there are bits and pieces that you can check using your calculator. So what you have to do is go on to shift menu. Sorry, not shift menu, just menu. Okay, go on to distribution. This time we're looking at inverse normal distribution. Okay, so it's this part that I'm going to check. Okay, it's this part that I'm going to check. Like I want to see what is phi inverse of 0.16. So area is... Achha, wait a minute. First, let's clear everything. That would be a good idea. Reset everything. There you go. Now, go on to distribution. Okay, go on to inverse normal distribution. Now, what we want to see what is phi inverse of 0.16. Now, 0.16 is the probability. Okay, which is why we're using what? We're using inverse normal. Because we want the z value with the probability, not the other way around. So that's why we're using inverse value. So probability is basically representing the area. So we write 0.16. We let everything else be as it is. And see what do we get? We get 0.994, which is exactly what we got earlier as well. से अगर S1 लीक हो जाता है या कैंसिल हो जाता है तो हमें ग्रेड मिलेंगे और किन बेसिस पर? बेटा आई डोंट नो, आई डोंट वर्क फॉर ब्रिटिश काउंसिल, आई डोंट वर्क फॉर कैम्ब्रिज, so you'll have to wait and find out. Okay, you'll have to wait and find out. Alright, now another way that you can use your calculator and check is by finding out phi inverse of 0.915. So 0.915. Now please make sure that you're not entirely relying on your calculator, because you never know, you might end up entering a value incorrectly and then you'll realize that your answer, and then you'll end up getting the wrong answer. So first make sure that you learn the way that it's done without a calculator and you do it that way first before you do anything else. ठीक है, तो क्या आंसर आया? आंसर आया 1.372. There you go. Okay, and that's exactly what we got when we took phi inverse of 0.915. Okay, so use your calculator smartly. There's a lot that your calculator packs. There are a lot of features packed into it, so just use it smartly. Achha, I want to do a question where we convert binomial to normal. I want to do one of those questions where we convert binomial to normal. Okay, I'll see if there's a standalone question. Chalo ye kar lete hain. Let's do this question. Sir, my calculator doesn't have this feature, so beta, there's nothing I can do about it. सर आप बता सकते हैं कौन से क्वेश्चन S1 में मार्क्स गेनिंग हैं जिनमें स्कोर? See, you will have some, so you could have a question on measures of central tendency, where you have to calculate mean, median, variance, standard deviation. Those are very simple. Lengthy, but just a simple formula will do the job. Then if you get a question on graphical representation of data, once again, very easy because most of it is the same as O-level. So these two areas, I think, and sometimes you get a combined question, like you have to make a histogram and then you also have to find out the mean and variance. So if you get a question like that, I think that's great. And in questions like that, you must do well. और क्या होता है फिर probability, but the thing about probability is that the difficulty level of the question really fluctuates. Sometimes you get a very easy question which any O-level student can solve, sometimes you get a very difficult question. So, but it's 50-50. Okay, 50% of the time it's easy, 50% of the time it's difficult. Okay, now let's solve this question. Box and whiskers take a lot of time, yeah. So any graphical representation question where you have to maybe make a histogram, cumulative frequency curve will take a lot of time, no doubt. But they're easy. Box and whisker, would you rather have a box and whisker question or a normal distribution question? Obviously you would have a box and whisker question, right? So, sir, histogram कैसे निकालते हैं? मैं कैसे निकालते mean median? बेटा जो data set दिया होता है उसको midpoint लेते हैं, midpoint को frequency से multiply करते हैं, that's how you do it. So after watching PNC videos, I'm glad. So there will be inshallah lots and lots of streams of PNC in the coming future. Just hope and pray that everything in the country remains normal and papers don't get leaked. Otherwise, it'll be difficult to be in that state of mind. Okay. Anyway, now let's solve this question. In Cuesta, 60% of the adults travel to work by car. So that means the probability that people travel by car is equals to 0.6. Now remember, this by the way is a binomial question. Okay, binomial, bi means 2. So that means it's favorable and unfavorable. Okay. So what about the people that don't travel by car? Okay, car prime, car dash, whatever it is that you want to call it. Okay, that would be equal to 1 minus 0.6. अब वो कार से जाएं, पैदल जाएं, फाइटर जेट पे जाएं, जिस पे भी जाएं, really doesn't make a difference. ठीक है, it's just that it's either car or no car, simple as that. Okay. Now a random sample of 12 adults from Cuesta is taken. Find the probability that the number of people who travel to work by car is less than 10. So that means we have to travel the probability of x being less than 10, which means instead of doing that, we'll have to calculate the probability that x is greater than or equal to 10. Okay, why? Because less than 10 will just go on forever. It would be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So greater than 10 would be much easier. Why? Because in greater than 10, we would only have to consider the probability of x being equal to 10 plus 11 plus 12. अच्छा, binomial भी solve करने का ना, there is a way in your calculator. I haven't fully mastered it, that's why I haven't made a video on it. But inshallah, in the coming days, most likely today or tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow, I will learn it and I will teach you guys how to do it. It's something that can save you a lot of time, okay, and something that can save you marks also. Okay, but in the meantime, I would encourage you guys to look it up on YouTube, because I'll also learn it from YouTube and then make a video of it on my own. But if you guys are curious, you can learn it up on YouTube yourself, and do practice it multiple times before you actually decide to use it in the exam. And remember, you're going to use it to check your answer. Okay, please don't misquote me or come back to me saying, okay, I said you can use your calculator and not show any working. That's not the case. Okay, so probability of x equal to 10, that means 12C10, 0.6 raised to the power 10, so that means 10 people are going by car and the remaining 2 people are not going by car, plus 12C11, 0.6 raised to the power 11, 0.4 raised to the power 1, plus 12C12, 0.6 raised to the power 12, 0.4 raised to the power of 0. Okay, so let's work this out. Let's see what we get. 12C10 into 0.6 raised to the power of 10. जी बेटा एड मैथ्स का भी मॉक लूँगा, टेंशन ना लें आप. ठीक है, एड मैथ्स का भी मॉक होगा, S1 का भी मॉक होगा. दोनों के मॉक्स मैंने बना लिए हैं. ठीक है, और कल से या I'll start soon. 12C1, 0.6 raised to the power 11 into 0.4 plus, okay, 12C12 into 0.6 raised to the power of 12 into 0. Okay, that's good enough. So we have 0.08344. Okay, 0.08344. Now what we want, we're going to do 1 minus. Just stay tuned. I'll announce on my Instagram and I'll announce on my YouTube also. Okay, so just make sure you're following. So 1 minus 0.08344 is equal to 0.917. Okay, 0.917, that's the answer. Sir, are you going to do streams for all S1 topics? Will you... not all S1 topic, all the important topics such as permutation, combination, this, and some other topic along with this, perhaps geometric distribution. Okay, or maybe what we can do is one day we can do 2 streams. We can have 2 S1 streams, one for a topic and one off. And one a mock related stream. We can do that. Okay, now this is the question that I want to solve. A random sample of 150 adults from Cuesta is taken. Use an approximation to find the probability that the number who travel to work by car is less than 81. So that means probability of x is less than 81. Achha, ek cheez yaad rakho, whenever the question says use an approximation, that means you have to convert it into normal distribution. Okay, and how do you convert binomial to normal? So when you convert it to normal distribution, NP is basically your mean and NPQ is basically your variance. Okay, so this is your mean, your mu, and this is basically sigma squared. Okay, so N is what? N is the number of people multiplied by the probability of favorable outcome. Favorable outcome is the probability of people who are traveling to work by car, so that's 0.6. So 150 into 0.6, 150 into 0.6, that's equal to 90. बेटा मुझे नहीं पता थ्रेशोल्ड क्या होगा, मैं कैम्ब्रिज में काम नहीं करता ना, मैं सारे पेपर चेक करता हूँ, तो you'll have to wait and find out. Okay, you'll have to wait and find out. If I tell you what the threshold will be right now, it will be a very miscalculated guess. Okay, not a calculated guess, a very miscalculated guess. Okay, so you don't want to hear it from me. All right, so x is normally distributed and the mean is 90 and the variance is 36. Okay, now less than 81. Less than 81 means that we will have to use continuity correction and it will be less than 80.5. Okay, we're using continuity correction. अब continuity correction क्यों use करते हैं ये अक्सर लोगों को नहीं पता होता. I'll explain it over here. So basically what we're doing is we're converting this distribution from binomial to normal. Okay, now remember, binomial is something that takes discrete values, meaning whole numbers like 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Whereas normal is something that is continuous, meaning it can take any value, 8.2, 8.5, 8.001. It's continuous. Okay, like for example, if we talk about cars, we know that cars are discrete. People are discrete. You can't have 2.5 people. You can't have 2.25 people. Okay, but if we talk about, let's say, height, we talk about mass, we talk about lengths. Lengths are basically variables that are continuous. Okay, square root nahi kiya sir for SD. But this is okay. Remember, whenever we're writing down the parameters of normal distribution, we always write mean and variance. Okay, when we are using the formula, in the formula we will write the square root of 36. Okay, यहाँ पे कभी हम standard deviation नहीं लिखते. Here we always write down the variance. Okay, so we want to find out the probability that x is less than 81. So that means in binomial, 81 is a discrete value represented by a certain bar. Okay, so let's erase this right now. Okay, which means if there is 82, 82 will be represented by a bar, and if there is 80, 80 will also be represented by a bar. Okay, now this is one of those things. If you understand, that's great. If you don't, there's nothing to worry about. Okay, so here's 81, here is 80, and here is 82. Okay, whereas if we convert this into normal distribution, now remember, in normal distribution, so this right here is 81. Okay, so 81 in binomial distribution is at the center of the bar. Okay, 81 in normal distribution is at the center of the bar, whereas in binomial distribution is at the center. Okay, but as far as normal distribution is concerned, in normal distribution, that's not how it works. In normal distribution, this will be in between 80 and 81. So that means in normal distribution, this will be basically 80.5. Okay, less than 81 means that you want this area, and this will basically be 80.5. Okay, now I've explained this in detail in my notes also. And it's one of those things that if you get it, that's great. If you don't, then there's nothing to worry about. No need to waste time trying to understand this. Just memorize the rules. Okay. So 80.5. Oops, sorry. 80.5 minus the mean, which is 90, over square root of variance, which is 36, will give you the z-score. Now let's see what the z-score is. So 80.5 minus 90 divided by 6. So the z-score is minus 1.5833. Okay. Now we'll use the z-score to find out the probability. So because it's less than, that means phi of minus 1.5833 will be the answer. Now we can't do that. We can't find out phi of a negative value. So instead what we'll do is we'll do 1 minus phi of the positive value, which is 1.5833. Okay. Where can I solve add maths paper 1 O level? There will be mocks inshallah for add maths for because I know there is not a lot of non-calculator material available. So there will be mocks. And with the help of that, you guys can practice for the non-calculator paper. Anyway, so let's find out phi of 1.583. So what will be phi of 1.583? Let's see. So I've already answered that question. No need to spam now. So 1.5, that's right here, 1.58. So that's 0.9429, and then in the end we add 3, so in the end we add 4. .583. So 1.58, that's 0.9429, 0.9429 plus 0.3 zeros, and then in the end the corresponding value of 3, which is equal to 4. So that means 0.9433. 0.9433. So 1 minus 0.9433, that's equal to 0.0567. So the answer is 0.0567. Let's see if this is what the question asked. The question asked us to, yeah, and there you go. This is the correct answer. Now remember, whenever you have 0.0, the significant figures start after 0. So this is what makes it 3 significant figures. All right. Okay, so I'm not going to extend this stream any further. We're going to keep it till here only. Also, let's just quickly answer this. Justify your use of approximation in part B. Now remember, when do we use normal distribution? We use normal distribution when NP is where n is greater than 30. Okay, so there are rules where we use normal distribution. So n was equal to, I think, 120. No, 150. 150. So this is greater than 30. And also NP and NPQ must be both greater than 5. So NP was equal to what? 90, which was greater than 5. Okay, so there are rules. You guys can download my notes. There's a from the website mathletebystart.com. Okay, so आज हम यहीं तक रखते हैं because students have their exam tomorrow. Yeah, I'm keeping this short on purpose. There will be another stream on normal distribution. I'm not saying by any means that we're done with normal distribution. Okay, because people have their chemistry exam tomorrow and computer science tomorrow. I honestly didn't want to keep a stream today, but because I couldn't do it yesterday, so that's why I decided to let's not waste time and let's make the most of the time that we have left. So anyway, we will inshallah have detailed streams. Okay, we will have detailed streams in the coming days. Let's hope the situation stays normal, especially in Pakistan and all around the world also. ठीक है, so दुआ करें अपने मुल्क के लिए कि सब कुछ सही सलामत रहे, पेपर्स एज पर स्केड्यूल होते रहें और लीक ना हो, क्योंकि लीक भी होता है तो God only knows what's going to happen. Just pray that nothing unusual happens. Okay, if you make a box around it, that's okay. Yeah, it's a good idea to make a box around your answer. Okay, so yeah, stay hopeful, stay safe, stay indoors, and keep praying for your country. That's it. Take care, and keep also following all the official pages of British Council, Cambridge. Keep messaging them, keep putting pressure on them to do something about the leaks. Okay, we have to do it. If we don't do it now, they will probably be like, because I don't think what's happened this session can, before it gets worse, because if considering all that's happened this session, if you don't do anything about it, then ye phir normal ban jayega. This will become the standard. Okay, this will become a normal thing where people with money will eventually end up getting good grades. Okay, and you know, घूम फिर के एक standardized testing ऐसी चीज़ होती है जिसमें having a lot of money doesn't give you a lot of edge. Ultimately, it's about how smart you are, how hardworking you are. Okay, especially in this day and age when all the resources are available on YouTube for free. So having a lot of money does not give you a lot of edge, okay, because quality resources already available हैं. लेकिन अगर हम इस leaks को lightly लेते रहेंगे, we're not going to do anything about it, तो फिर ये भी फिर ये होगा, the amount of money you have will be directly proportional to the number of A's and A stars you get. Okay, because you'll literally be buying your grades then. So you have to keep on putting a lot of pressure. Tell your parents to reach out to principals, to reach out to school heads, to reach out to coordinators, because they are, I know, I've worked in schools, I know school heads and principals are directly in contact with Cambridge. Okay, and Cambridge has to respond to them because they're technically partners. Okay, they're technically partners. School को जो वो number मिलता है, PK center number मिलता है, that makes them a partner, a partner with British Council. So they have to respond to schools. So keep putting pressure. Tell your parents to do it. You do it on social media. Tell your parents to do it on by reaching out to school heads. But it has to be collective effort. Okay, we're doing as much as we can, and you guys do as much as you can, so that we can prevent this from happening again. Okay, I'm hopeful, inshallah, something good will come out of it. Okay, these are testing times, no doubt, but you know, हर आजमाइश में, हर शर में कोई ना कोई खैर ज़रूर होती है. So inshallah something good will come out of it. I don't know what that good is going to be, but I'm hopeful some good will definitely come out of it. Okay, so yeah, take care everyone. See you guys inshallah in the next stream. Take care. Allah Hafiz.